Good afternoon. We have breaking news here live at 2 o'clock on Spectrum News. Multiple sources confirmed to me that Governor Roy Cooper is set to announce Sherry Beasley as the next Chief Justice of the North Carolina Supreme Court. She will become the first African-American woman to hold that position in our state. Let's take a live look at the governor's mansion right now, where he's walking up and about to make that announcement at any moment. It is historic. Let's listen in live. Live at 6, we are still following Florence as it continues to pound our state with rain. The rising water levels have already turned deadly.
If you are refusing to leave during this mandatory evacuation, then you need to do things like notify your legal next of kin, because the loss of life is very, very possible.
Get out and get safe. An urgent message from Cumberland County officials as the flooding from the Cape Fear River could be life-threatening.
And Florence is leaving behind devastating damage. We'll have an update from Lumberton, where the rain continues to fall at this hour. Thanks so much for sticking with us here on Spectrum News. I'm Tim Boyum.
And I'm Loretta Beniti. We're joined by meteorologist Chris Thompson with the latest on the flooding from Florence. Chris.
Tim, Loretta, this storm is a long way from being over. We're going to be talking about this all week long.
Yeah, tired of seeing orange and yellow on this radar behind us, no question about that. Topping our news at this hour, mandatory evacuation orders underway for folks who live near the Cape Fear River in Fayetteville. They have until 3 p.m. tomorrow to get out.
Well, that's right, and the evacuation was ordered following the rising water levels in the Cape Fear River.
Sure. And they're shaking hands with George Holding, a congressman from the 2nd District in North Carolina. Yes, and in fact, yesterday, we thought we'd seen some of the worst of the damage. Then we were allowed into Pender County, and we started seeing homes that were, 95% underwater as well. There he's shaking hands with Brock Long, the FEMA administrator. Brock Long, a North Carolina guy, he's from Hickory, actually under a little bit of fire right now for an investigation that's going about his travels back and forth in federal government vehicles from Hickory to D.C. Obviously today, though, the focus is on the recovery in North Carolina and what the president, the governor has said, he's told me that the president has told him personally that he promises help to North Carolina. The governor says he's going to hold the president to that promise. Hi, Chris. Thank you very much. As we've been mentioning, red is the color. You can see in all of our shots this morning. Pretty much everyone that's here that's not media is wearing red. But I do want to show you something real quick before we get to our reporters. You'll see some of these today, too, these green ribbons. These are being handed out by NCAE in honor of UNC Charlotte after that shooting last night. And some of the gun activist groups will be leading that march today. And it is going to be a message that we're going to hear on stage at 12:30. However, the big story right now is all these teachers coming here in Halifax. Well, let's go to Chris Williams, who's been talking to some of them all morning long. They sure sound excited, Chris.
Hey, Tim, yes, I'm with the crowd of Durham County teachers. This is where the group is going to be stationed here.
Very powerful stories, and you will hear more from that young man, Jamar Bright, coming up. Welcome, everyone, to a special Spectrum News Town Hall, North Carolina, Under the Gun. I'm Tim Boyum. Over the next hour, we will continue this conversation about gun violence, our gun culture, and if the two can coincide. We're going to hear from people who have lost loved ones to guns, like young Jamar, who's with us tonight. We're joined here in our new Charlotte studio with a full audience made up of people and organizations of both sides of the gun debate. They have come here with their questions. We've also assembled a panel of experts to make sure we have a balanced and real discussion about guns. You'll be hearing from North Carolina State House Representative Christy Clark, who's in her first term serving Mecklenburg County. Before that, she led North Carolina's Mom Demand Action, a grassroots group looking for safety measures to prevent gun violence. Paul Vallone, the president of Grassroots North Carolina. It is a self-described no-compromise gun rights organization to defend the individual right to keep and bear arms. South Carolina State House Representative John King, you heard him in that documentary. He has served York County for 11 years now. And Mecklenburg County Sheriff Gary McFadden, last fall, he was first sworn in as sheriff, but before that, he was a homicide detective with Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police for more than 20 years.
A gun is a gun. It's gonna do what it's meant to do. It's gonna kill. I don't get why people have to take other people's lives. That's something I really want to change. And I guess it's going to start off with a handshake or a conversation.
Welcome back to North Carolina Under the Gun, our town hall tonight. And joining us in studio is who you just saw there, Jamar Bright, I understand you've grown about 3 inches since we saw you last. Thank you so much for being here tonight. It's been a few months since we caught up with you. Just tell us, if you can, how you and your family are doing.
Right. So far it's been good. We still have our moments where we kind of break down, but we get past those, and we try to see what comes next. We focus on brighter things, and we don't want to leave it there because we still have a fight to win, but on other days we get past it. And a lot of people ask us, how do we do it? Like, it's like we didn't lose anybody in our family because we were so happy all the time. And honestly, I don't know. My mom is very strong, and
I think you're strong.
thank you. But our family, together, we're not gonna back down from anything. So I just wanted to say we're holding up good.
I'm curious, you're 14, right? You're going to be 15 here in a couple weeks?
Yes.
Early happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you.
I'm curious your take as a 14-year-old listening to this, debate tonight and this discussion in here. What goes through your head? What are you thinking?
A lot of things goes through my head. I've been wanting to say something for a while, with all due respect. When they were talking about how kids bring their parents' gun to school, a lot of things go through my mind because this is my generation they're speaking on, and I want to see. I've been seeing how they've been dealing with this debate, and they've been saying how kids take their parents' guns and bring them to school, and how it shouldn't be loaded and stuff like that. Those are all good facts, but we need to really focus on the children themselves, the home they're raised in. The parents they play a big part in the situation that is going on in the household. There could be a dad beating on his son, and the son wanted to take it out on someone other than his dad. So he takes his gun to school and shoots up the school. So it's a lot of stuff that I want to discuss, but I really don't play a part in this. So I'll just leave it right there.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's a lot of people that disagree on a lot in this room, but I know everyone agreed. Right before we came on, they said, be strong for your brother,
Yeah.
and we appreciate you being a part of this. Thank you so much. Live from the McGlowan Theater here at Spirit Square in Uptown Charlotte, this is the 9th District Congressional Debate exclusively on Spectrum News. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Tim Boyum, your moderator this evening and host of Capitol Tonight. The 9th District includes the Charlotte suburbs along the southern North Carolina border over to the Fayetteville area and parts of Cumberland County. Our candidates tonight, Democrat Dan McCready and Republican Mark Harris. We are in front of a live audience tonight. Thank you, folks, for being with us tonight, and thank you so much to everyone at home as well. This is one of the most hotly contested races in the entire country and is being watched by folks all over the country. This next question is for Mr. McCready, and we're going to get to this because this has come up already a lot. You have said that you will not vote for Nancy Pelosi, and you want new leaders. However, you may not have that choice. There's a strong possibility your only choice will be Nancy Pelosi or the Republican. If that ends up being the situation, what is your plan? Would you abstain? And if your answer is that you won't deal with hypotheticals, don't voters deserve to know what you would do in that situation, considering you've made a big deal out of her not being who you vote for?
It's hard for pundits in Washington, D.C. people to understand. I just am not interested in D.C. insider politics. Mark Harris stands here and he says he supports a tax bill that blows $2 trillion to our debt, and then he comes around and says he wants to cut Social Security and Medicare for our seniors.
I need to stop you as well. All right, the next question.
Can I say something there?
Well, this is the format that you debated on. I'm free to open it up if you guys want to, but this is the format that you all agreed to. So you can answer in part of the next one. I have no problem kind of a freewheeling debate, but that's not what your campaigns agreed to. Mr. Harris, you've been an adamant supporter of President Trump and his family, and they have helped you through this campaign, including this week as well. Clearly, he has a strong legion of supporters. However, there are also some conservatives that have changed their mind and no longer support him, and many are basing their support of a candidate based on that. Why should those voters, what is expected to be a very close race, support you if they are concerned that you'll simply be a rubber stamp for his policies, tactics, and demeanor.